Hello, everybody. Welcome to the presentation on Fueling Mom. So Danielle did a wonderful job of introducing me. I am a registered dietitian. I've been doing this for over 20 years, which, oh my gosh, I cannot, it makes me feel so old. Anyway, as she said, I have 3 children. They're all boys. This is actually a picture of them from a vacation this last fall, I believe. Yes. Anyway, 3 boys, 14, 11, and 9. So I am very busy. I know what it's like. I feel all of your struggles, all of your pain. Hopefully this presentation will help you a little bit. I actually feel like this is a really great topic because as moms, I think that we usually worry a little bit more about our kids. I mean, in general about everything, but we also worry about them. Like, are they eating enough veggies? Are they getting enough fruit? Are they eating the right amount and the good amount of protein? What about fiber? All the things, you get the idea. And because we worry about them so much, I feel like our nutrition and our health and our choices kind of go on the back burner a little bit. And really, no matter how old your kids are, whether they're infants, toddlers, teens, the focus tends to be more about them. So during this presentation, I hope to give you some information on how you can fuel yourself with good nutrition, make you realize how easy it actually can be. It doesn't have to, I want to take the guesswork out of it for you. And I want you to realize how important it is for you to realize that you count too. And remember, kids pick up on our habits. So let's create good ones for ourselves so they pick up on that for them. Okay. So to start, I want to say that all the tips, tricks that we might discuss today may or may not work for you and your family, and that's okay. Even if you leave this presentation with just picking like 1 or 2 things that might work for you and your family, that's great. Okay. The one tip that I think might resonate with everyone is plan ahead. You know that saying, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Okay. I know and planning ahead might sound easier said than done, but in all honesty, planning ahead will save you time. It might not seem that way when you first start actually sitting down to plan. You might be like, this takes way too much time, but in the end, it's going to save you time. And don't forget, this I should say, this isn't just for the family. This is to make sure you're prepared for you and for getting the right stuff for you. During the presentation, I will talk about family, but this pertains mostly to the moms out there. Okay. So planning ahead, how do we do that? Pick a time and day that works for you. For me, that's usually Sundays. For you, it look different. It might be Monday, but I pick a time of day. I usually Sunday mornings, I sit down, and do whatever needs to be done as far as planning for the week ahead, groceries, meals that I'm thinking about. Sometimes it might work to get your family involved, your kids involved. They can look up recipes online or pick meals that they like, or, snacks, and try and we'll talk about this further in the presentation when I'm talking about like picking healthy things. And from the meals that you pick, you can develop a grocery list. Okay. And here on this slide, and I put MYPLATE.GOV at the bottom because I got these graphics from the MYPLATE.GOV website. They're in the resources section. You can print these out. It's a great resource to have. Here you can, create a grocery game plan calendar. So, it goes through Sunday through Saturday, and it tells you the meals you might want to make. And then from that, you can translate it to the grocery list that you're going to use to bring with you to the grocery store. So planning ahead, easy, quickly done. You can go and have your grocery list. Another thing you can do to make it easy for you to fuel yourself with good foods is doing something called batch cooking. What does that mean? It's making a lot of a specific food and being able to portion it out, store it for later, whether it's in the refrigerator that you can use during the week, or put it in the freezer where you can, maybe this week you're going to have it one day and the next week you're going to have it, you'll have it in the freezer, take it out and use it the following week. It's a time saver because you're making it now and you're using it later. Again, this might be a time where you want to pick a day. Maybe your kids are off at school and you have time to do it then, or maybe the baby's down for a nap and you have time to do some batch cooking at that time. You could do things like main dish batch cooking, meaning like you make a casserole or a lasagna, baked ziti, a stew, pot pie. You make it's big enough where you either freeze half of it, freeze the whole thing, or portion it out. There are so many ways you can find ideas for batch cooking. Going to some websites, I even looked just on my own, taste.com, foodnetwork.com, delish.com are just some of them. I find for myself, I really, especially during the winter months, I know we're slowly coming out of that, but batch cooking soup, I'll make a big thing of soup in the crock pot and I'll portion it out for half this week, half next week. So that way I know that I'm going to at least get 2 good meals out of that. So the crock pot is, if you don't own one, I remember my sister gave me one for, I think, a birthday or Christmas. This must have been like 15 years ago. And I was like, I can't believe she's giving me a kitchen appliance, but it makes things so much easier. You could cook healthy meals quickly in it. Mason jar salads, that's another thing you can batch make. There's also tons of recipes out there for how you can get it done. All right. Sometimes, we don't have a lot of time to make something nutritious for ourselves. So I always recommend making sure you're stocked up on things in your pantry or your freezer. So that way you have healthy things readily available. You don't have to worry about it. Definitely in your pantry, having rice, even if it's just the minute rice, you can get, I think it's the Uncle Ben's brown rice has minute rice individually packaged that you could put in the microwave. There you have a whole grain ready that you can cook for lunch. Having pasta, beans, lentils in your pantry, canned fish, like either canned salmon, canned tuna, whatever you prefer. Beans, that's another good source of a complex carbohydrate and a protein if you're not doing any meat or fish. Having broth or soups in the pantry. Even if you have, sometimes I'll get like a vegetable, some kind of vegetable soup, like pepper or tomato soup or something, and I'll put it on the stove and I'll add frozen vegetables to it. So that way I'm having soup and I'm adding vegetables to the soup. You could probably even put canned beans in it to get a little protein in it if you wanted. Freezer, always having frozen vegetables. Believe it or not, frozen vegetables are as nutritious as fresh, if not sometimes even more nutritious because they're picked at their peak of ripeness and then flash frozen. So having having frozen vegetables available, berries or other fruit in the freezer. You can buy bread and put it in the freezer so that you have it readily available. And say your family doesn't like the bread that you prefer, say, because I always recommend having whole grain or whole wheat bread. So having a loaf of whole grain or whole wheat in the freezer, if your family doesn't eat it, that way you have it readily available for a quick meal or snack. Obvious meat, fish, seafood, having extra in the freezer. So that way, if you didn't get to go to the grocery store in time, but you have some frozen meat to make a good meal. You can also buy frozen or batch cook grains. Like say you make 2 cups of rice on a Sunday, you can freeze that and use it during the week. So having frozen rice or other grains available is also good to have. Like you hear all the time, sleep when the kids sleep or sleep when the baby sleeps. It's also eat when the kids eat. And don't forget about you at mealtime. I know a lot of times, especially with the younger ones, the focus is on them. What are they going to eat? How am I going to make them something healthy? But don't forget about you when it comes to meals, and balance your own plate. Think about you. When I say balance your own plate, I'm talking about having a protein, a vegetable, and a grain or starch at at lunch and dinner, definitely. I mean, breakfast, trying to get a protein in and a whole grain as well. And my best advice for eat when the kids eat, and when I'm saying eat when the kids eat, I'm not saying pick off of the plate for what your kids are eating. Don't eat the last two nuggets that they didn't finish, or the macaroni and cheese that's left over on the plate, or the crust of their sandwich. That's not a meal. That's the glorified snack. And it's sort of also leads to mindless eating, because it's not a meal, not going to satisfy your hunger. So think about you when it comes to mealtime. Snacks. Now, we always think about kids when it comes to snacks. When we go out for the day, or you're going to Van Saun Park, or you're going to the mall, or you're going to a friend's house, you're always thinking about snacks to bring for the kids. When it comes to snacks, don't forget about you. I always recommend, trying to have something with fiber in it, or combining a starch or carbohydrate with the protein, because it's going to keep you fuller longer. It's more nutritious. And it's more satisfying. So some things that I recommend it having on hand would be like string cheese, or, the Baby Bell cheese that they sell, yogurt, nuts. You can even do like a Greek yogurt with, you can even portion it out, put it in a little container ahead of time, even a couple during the week. Greek yogurt, put some frozen berries in it, and maybe some slivered almonds. That way you're getting protein, and you're getting fiber with the fruit, and you're having fruit. Cottage cheese, hard boiling a dozen eggs, on a Sunday, so that way you can have it during the week and maybe snack on a hard boiled egg. Protein bars. Some ones that I would recommend would be like a Lara bar, Kind bar, the RX bars. Nugo is one that I order for myself. They used to sell it at Whole Foods, but I haven't been able to find it there. So I ordered that one off their website. And One Bar is another one. So don't forget about you when packing snacks. Have something for yourself, so that you're not just, you have the kids' container of puffs that you're eating out, or the Cheerios or something like that. This way you have something for you. Another thing, and this, might not be about fueling yourself, but just to make life easier for you, so that that you're getting or able to have your house stocked with foods that are healthy and nutritious. Don't feel guilty about using a grocery delivery service. It may not be for everyone. I've tried it a couple times. For me, I prefer to go to the grocery store, but I know people who use a delivery service and they love it. And ever since COVID, I feel like all the stores almost have a delivery option, or at least an order ahead where you can go pick it up. Even Whole Foods does. They have an area where you can even park for the pickup. But Peapod is one. I think Stop and Shop is Peapod. You could do it at ShopRite. There are so many. Target. I don't know if they deliver, but I'm pretty sure you can go pick up the foods. So using a delivery service, don't feel guilty about it. Plenty of people do it. It might even save you money, because you're not going up and down the aisles just grabbing random things. You have a plan. You know what you're going to order when you go on the website. Keeping it simple. I do this with my friends sometimes. Like, we'll text back and forth talking about, I'm making dinner, and my friend's like, I'm making spring rolls for dinner. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm making like broiled chicken, rice, and a vegetable. The thing is, it doesn't have to be fancy at all to be healthy and nutritious. So don't worry about what everybody else is eating. It doesn't have to have 20 ingredients not to be fancy. You can just stick to the basics. If you're having a lean protein, a complex carbohydrate or starch, and some vegetables, if a little seasoning here and there, it, again, does not have to be complex, doesn't have to be fancy. And by this, also knowing your limitations. If you're someone that it's, especially with having kids, sometimes it's just easier knowing that. For me myself, I would prefer if sometimes I look at a recipe and it's like 20 ingredients, I'm likely not going to pick that. I would prefer something a little simpler, a little easier. Once in a while, maybe do the ones with all the fresh herbs, but knowing limitations and being okay with it is fine. And you don't know, there's no need to spend all day cooking. There's a reason why things are ready-made food items in the grocery store. If it's easier to do this for you to keep healthy and make better choices, go for it. Rotisserie chicken right away. Every week I buy one when I go to the grocery store. I come home, I break it up right away. I put it in a Tupperware. I have it for the week. You can either use it for meals or for yourself, or you can use it for meals for your family at night. But that way I always know that I have I remove the skin. So I know I have a lean protein I use it for my lunches. Or you can do the Purdue shortcuts. They actually have it at the local grocery store in my town. It's just bagged, chicken, and sometimes it's either like grilled or, Mediterranean, but it's basically pre-cooked chicken, easy peasy. You could put it on a salad. You could have it just as with a vegetable and a starch. Hummus is another thing that you can buy ready to make. You don't have to make it on your own. Ready-made meatballs. This is a good example. I used this last night for dinner, so I know I already had my meatballs made. I had a protein to go along with my spaghetti. Bagged vegetables, it's pre-cut. Trader Joe's is very good selection of the pre-bagged vegetables. They have, broccoli and cauliflower, green beans that you could just pop in the microwave and steam, and they're fresh and easy. It doesn't have to be complicated. Pie crust, and I put that there because if you have just a pie crust in your fridge or even the freezer on hand, and you have eggs at home, you can make a quiche. And if you have some bagged vegetables, you can make it, add spinach or broccoli, and there you have a meal. Ravioli or tortellini, ready-made foods that are readily available and easy to make. I know the ShopRite in Wyckoff has a huge section that they even have, sometimes they'll have grilled chicken, or they'll have cooked salmon, easy, readily available. Get the family involved. This is another way that you can do things. You can meal plan together, come up with the grocery list, go food shopping with them. That way, again, they, see what you're doing, they see what you're choosing, getting them involved. Having a whiteboard in the kitchen. I have one. My 14-year-old son will actually write down the snacks that he wants me to buy at the grocery store. But this is also a way that you can have it in the kitchen, write down what you are going to buy, or if you're running out of something. I just think it's a great idea if you have room in the kitchen. Also, make it fun. Have a theme night for dinner. Taco Tuesday, burrito, build a bowl, or like burrito bowl or taco bowl. That way, you can have stuff for everyone. Not everybody in the family likes the same things. I know that's this way in my house. But if I do, like tonight, I'm doing Taco Tuesday, I know I'll have some lean ground beef. I'll have the lettuce, tomato, and everybody can build their own. But I know that I'm going to be eating healthy and fueling myself by making, good choices. So having a theme night is fun. And for kids, that's also fun too. Making sure to take time for you. Yes, we're talking about nutrition and fueling yourself with good food, but aside from fueling yourself, you also have to think about you as a whole being, and it doesn't just stop at nutrition. Don't feel guilty about taking that time for yourself. If it's moving your body, I know sometimes it's hard with little ones, but now that the weather is getting nicer, you can put them in the stroller, go for a walk, the fresh air. It will help with stress management, or take time for yourself when, depending on the age of your children. If it's reading a book for 15 minutes or decompressing with an app. There's a lot of apps now that you can put on your phone, ways to deal with stress management. If you're somebody also that's worried, trying to lose weight and finding it hard to lose weight, you have to think it's not just nutrition, it's your sleep, it's your stress management, and making sure you're drinking plenty of caffeine-free beverages like water, seltzer, unsweetened tea, caffeine free. look to the healthy food groups. And what do I mean by that? I've listed them all here: whole grains. And this might seem common sense, but it should be mentioned, the whole grains, vegetables, fruit, low fat dairy products, lean protein, and heart healthy fats and oils. It's more about avoiding the processed foods as much as possible. So by putting that out there, it helps you make better choices for yourself. And we'll get into that a little bit more in the coming slides. So talking about how to build a healthy meal from the foundation, taking these food groups and moving it into how do we build from here to a healthy meal for fueling moms. Well, the website MYPLATE.GOV is an excellent resource. Back in my day, it was the food guide pyramid. And I feel like they've done such a good job revamping it by the MyPlate campaign, making half your plate vegetables, or, sometimes for breakfast, maybe it will be fruit and a vegetable, or just fruit for breakfast. But fruit and vegetables, a quarter of your plate grains, and a quarter of your plate protein. And the following slides will go into a little more depth about each part of the plate. So for fruits and vegetables, try and make half of your plate fruits and vegetables, choosing whole fruits and whole vegetables. If you're going to do canned fruit, try and do canned that's packed in their own fruit juices, not in any kind of syrup, so in water or their own juices instead of the syrups. Choosing frozen berries or frozen fruit, you could do that as well. Vegetables, trying to choose things that don't have sauces or gravies on them for better health, also lower in calories, but focusing on whole fruits and vegetables, limiting fruit juices. And dried fruit does count as fruit, but watching the portion sizes because the calories will add up. Grains and starches, making a quarter of your plate grains or starch. So quinoa, couscous, brown rice, whole wheat or whole grain pastas, potatoes would be in this category as well. Quarter of your plate, focusing on that. I would say 3/4 of a cup to a cup would be your portion size in this category. So focusing on that. Again, trying to stay away from the refined flours. So, avoiding the white rice, the regular pasta, trying to limit the white bread as much as possible, choosing whole grain, whole wheat when you haven't the option. And then for protein, a quarter of your plate should be a lean protein. So whether it's lean beef or skinless chicken or any kind of skinless poultry, eggs are in this category, tofu if you don't do any sort of meat, nut butters, beans I should have added on here, and seafood and fish would be in this category as well. So there are websites to get easy, uncomplicated recipes. Like I've been talking about, MyPlate.gov. It actually has a MyPlate kitchen where you can create your own cookbooks. It has 30-minute recipes. You can narrow it down to, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, sides, appetizers, things like that, based on the food group that you're looking for. MyPlate.gov, very easy, good resource. All recipes, that's another one. You can save recipes that you like. They have quick, easy recipes, whether you want to do the Instapot or the crock pot, ways that you can, recipes that you can find that you could batch cook and, separate it and portion it out and save for later. Food Network is another one where you could do sheet pan recipes where, you have basically like the starch, the protein, and the vegetable all on one pan, easy, throw it in, recipes for 30 minutes or less, skillet dinners, ways that you can find recipes basically with foods that you already have in your pantry. So there are websites that you can go to. These were 3 that I think are very easy to use that I use myself. I did find a couple recipes that I thought were easy, healthy go-tos. something that you could do if your mornings are busy, especially if you have school age kids or even infants as well, because like the mornings they're waking up, they're either nursing or bottle feeding, or you have to get them breakfast. An overnight oats or an overnight oatmeal might be something that you want to look in doing. So I put one that I got from MYPLATE.GOV. If you want to write down the recipe here, or it's just oatmeal and water. And I believe this is 2 servings. I want to say it's 2 servings. So if you made this ahead of time, you could split it up, have it one day, and then the next day or 2 days later, whether or not. I also had one, this is also from MyPlate. You could either do this as a lunch or a snack. It's basically tortilla with peanut butter, sliced apples, and you could do the granola if you wanted to as a little bit of extra crunch. It's optional. This one's easy, basically just spreading out the peanut butter and the sliced apples. They do suggest Red Delicious, but basically you can use any apple you want. I would say you could do, if you ate the whole thing, that would be more of a meal. If you split it up, that would be, had one day, one the next, or later on, it would be more of a snack. So you could do this as a meal or a snack. The peanut butter would serve as your protein. The apple, of course, would be the fruit, and the tortilla, the whole wheat tortilla, would be your whole grain. And this one I use all the time. My family loves chicken soup, so this is an easy recipe for me. I just buy the rotisserie chicken. I find that and I got this from All Recipes, and it really is called Quick and Easy Chicken Soup. It is very quick and easy, but I tend to double the recipe because this will be gone in no time if I just did it with the half a cup of onion, half a cup celery. Sometimes I don't even measure. I literally just put the butter in the bottom of the pan, and I dump carrots, celery, onion. This recipe is a hit in my family, like I said. So even if you went to allrecipes.com and put in quick and easy chicken soup, you would come up with this one. So in summary, to review, planning ahead. Yes, it will take some time and getting used to in the beginning, but in the end, it will save you time. Batch cooking can be a lifesaver for some. Sometimes I do it. I will roast a bunch of vegetables on the weekend. I will sometimes put it just in one Tupperware, and I'll use it for me for lunch for the week, or I might use it for dinners at night. Like if I buy a rotisserie chicken and I put it in Tupperware sometimes for lunch, I will do the rotisserie chicken, the roasted vegetables, and I'll do one of the Uncle Ben's or minute rice, brown rice in the microwave, and there I have a meal for myself. Stocking up, making sure you have things that you can use during the week in your pantry, in your freezer, even in your refrigerator, making sure you always have, like, eggs for me is a big one. Eat when your kids eat. You are not a receptacle for what's left over on your child's plate. I know we've all done it. I've done it myself, and my husband jokes that I still do it too. When we go out to dinner, I'm always picking off what they left over, but once in a while is okay, but plan for yourself when it comes to meals, as well as snacks. Have snacks for you. Try and make it some kind of like complex carb or vegetable or fruit and a protein. So if you're doing an apple, have maybe a tablespoon of peanut butter with it for the protein. The protein is going to keep you fuller longer, as well as something with fiber in it. Keeping it simple. You don't have to make a 5-course meal or a meal with all of the ingredients. It can be very simple, as long as you try and follow the MyPlate kind of guidelines. You can get the family involved. Sometimes it's fun for them, and they get to see mimic what you're doing. And don't forget about you. Take time for yourself. Don't feel guilty about the little things you do for yourself, whether it's getting in some exercise, getting just some me time in, whatever it looks like for you that manages your stress. Because again, when it comes to health and overall well-being, yes, nutrition is huge, but we have to manage our stress, and sleep is so important. If you have really little ones, that might be a little bit harder, but as they get older and sleep more, think more about your sleep, because it is so important. And last but not least, balancing those meals like we talked about, half the plate vegetables at least for lunch and dinner, or 2 pieces of fruit a day is good, lean protein, and the whole grains or starches. And with that, I'd like to open it up to any questions we might have.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you. Any questions, throw them in that Q&A section. We do have a couple. So you mentioned rotisserie chicken a couple of times. How long do you keep that in the fridge once you take it off the carcass?
So for me, if I get it on a Sunday, I would probably have to like Google the actual time you should leave it, but by Thursday, I won't eat it after Thursday. I would say 3 to 4 days. Yeah.
Awesome.
But rotisserie chicken, I know I say it so much, but I swear it's like I've just found it and it's like saved my life. I don't know where it's been there forever, but you can do so many things with it. You can make chicken tacos, burritos. You can, just have it as your protein. You could just have the rotisserie chicken as a meal.
Yep. I've done it in quesadillas. And that's been like, it's like I hide it in my kids' quesadillas and mine. Okay, so we do have another question. What is your favorite fast lunch to make during the week? I work from home and it's hard to cook during the day.
Honestly, the rotisserie chicken, I do a lot. I buy the mini bagged peppers. They are the ones, it's just the red, orange, and yellow, and they are so sweet. I have turned so many people onto these mini peppers. I should be getting paid. So I just do protein. I do a vegetable. A lot of times it's peppers, or I'll do mini carrots, like the simplest. And then I will do like the minute rice, the brown rice, because it's super quick and easy.
Awesome. I've seen those.
Oh, you can even do like a slice of whole wheat bread, or slice of toast, whole grain toast.
I've seen those bell peppers sliced in half, put a little bit of cream cheese in it with everything everything but the bagel spice in it. That always looks really good to me.
I've seen that. I would maybe do that more as a snack. The bell peppers, I'll take like a little bit of honey mustard, light honey mustard, and I'll just dip it in that and eat it like that. But to me, I can eat them plain on my own, like without anything. You can even do take some whole wheat bread, do some peanut butter, put some banana on it, and have a banana peanut butter sandwich. That's whole grains. You're getting protein from the peanut butter and fruit from the banana.
I do that one a lot too.
Yeah.
What type of snack or meal bar do you recommend for on the go? Is there a brand?
I talked about that earlier, like a Lara bar, a Kind bar. What's the other one? RX bars. I buy one called Nugo, Nugo. I've seen it in Whole Foods, but the last time I was there, they didn't have it. I buy it online. They have a bunch of different bars if you go online. I do the Nugo Slim.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions? If not, Nicole, that was phenomenal. So much